in San Francisco. You heard of the country called San Francisco? It's quite a liberal place. And he was amazed. Wow, Shalom Aleichem.
Can you do a quick handshake?
Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem. Baruch haba. Our former student from Texas. So I was saying that the unity and brotherhood is so great, and people flying in from all over the world that were living elsewhere, and people that didn't go to reserve duty for so many years, they're all coming, and they all want to help. They all want to help. The most, on the other side of the political gamut, people that were so anti and so not national today, the most national persons in the world. And Hashem has to be very happy at this commitment, this working, this greatness. And the question is, we that are not soldiers and are not volunteering somewhere down south, what can we do? But the truth is, and this is the opening of my short today, I want to share with you a very important message. And the message is the front of battle is not only with weapons in the south or up north. The front of the battle is a spiritual battle, a battle of values, a struggle of what is really our Jewish identity, our authentic, national Jewish identity. We're a nation that has been in its diaper stages of recovery after the Holocaust. We went from nothing to becoming a mega nation here, a mega power economically and security-wise, defensively. And now, when we've been going through this period of time, as God is bringing water down from the sky, a nace, a miracle, so too do we understand that God is maneuvering all of this. This didn't happen by itself. Even the failures didn't happen by itself. Hashem wanted it to happen it's as if Hashem has disguised himself and allowed this atrocity to happen. And we're getting up and we're standing strong and we're committing ourselves on behalf of the Jewish people. The most irreligious people, the most not national people are at the head or at the front. What can we do? Realize that the real front is the spiritual scene, the values of our Torah, the real, authentic values of what our nation means according to our Torah. What is the value of the land of Israel according to the history of our Torah? What is our connection? And therefore, everyone sitting here and everyone in the Beit Midrash, especially you, because there's no doubt that the student body of the Israeli department is going to be small in number. Do you understand why? A good majority of them are mobilized as well. And it means we're at the front, the spiritual front. Our Torah study, our tefillot, our prayers on behalf of our army, of our families, is the spiritual power behind the Jewish people. That's the spiritual fuel. We have a lot of fuel for the Jeeps, and we have a lot of fuel for the tanks, and we have a lot of placement parts, and also Uncle Sam is coming through. 2 big planes have arrived in the Negev with parts and other matters, and there's a commitment like never was there a commitment from our non-Jewish friends, like the United States and France and Germany and England, that they're supporting whatever we're doing. We've never had such wide support. It's not that we have to have it, but the nations of the world are seeing what's happening in the world and who we are and what we represent in the world and what Islamic terror represents in the world. And the fact that we're all living in this period of time, wow, Hashem wants us to go through this. To be members of a nation of God that we're going to cause the nation to thrive more because of our service of Hashem. We're proud to be serving Hashem at this point, in our prayers, in our Torah study, in our acts of kindness. And therefore, with all the sadness, okay, and every day when they get to identify more, you understand why it's so hard to identify them. We should never know and see or watch. By the way, I never opened up to see it. It's not healthy for the soul to watch this, but every day there are more and more bodies that are able to identify, and therefore there are more funerals. It's not that they were killed today, or they were killed on the first day, but they were mutilized, they were butchered. The world sees that this is the work of Nazis. And therefore, every day there are more funerals, unfortunately, and the best were taken. The best flowers were taken from top families and brave people, courageous people that are doing things. And we should not have any more, God willing, B'ezrat Hashem. There's more than 1 million Muslim Arabs in Gaza that have begun to move already over the last few days. More than 1 million are in movement because they know that we're about to have a land invasion. And we want the northern part of the Gaza Strip empty of the so-called civilian. Not that they don't back up the Hamas. Who knows that they probably back up the Hamas, but we would prefer not to kill them if there's no need to. And they're hiding under civilian areas next to hospitals. They're hiding inside minharot, tunnels that are all in these neighborhoods of the so-called civilian people. But 1 million already. A few 100,000 have left already. Are you aware of that? A few 100,000 of Arabs have left the Gaza Strip to Egypt, and Egypt has now put a blockade on the getting out. They don't want any more. So it's a very, very special time. So let's go to our Torah and see how we learn and go forward in our Torah. We're about to begin Parashat. Please spell Noach for us. Look at me. Spell it. Nunchet. It's not written Nun Vavchet, but names are written also without a Vav, with the Cholam Chaser. Can you please erase the board? Do we have a Machak?
No.
Well, there's money there. I don't know who left money there. Okay. What I first want to say, thank you, sir. In Parashat Noach, is how did we get to Parashat Noach? How did we arrive to the situation that right now we are in the pre-flood world? If for a short time I ask all of you to tell me, after the creation, the divine creation of heaven and earth, and we learn from generation number 1 where God created Adam Arishon and Chava, and now we get up to Noach, which some of you know is generation number 10. Can we trace the stages of human failure in Parashat Bereshit? Things that the Torah decides to share with us, and if there are failures, and the Torah decides to share with us, that means it's meaningful for me because our Torah is nitzchit, is netzach, is eternal. There's something for me to learn. So maybe I'll be able to hear from you. There are 4 stages. One of our great women scholars, Nechama Leibovitz, we have her books down below on the corner. She, in a wonderful article, traces 4 stages of ethical degradation, ethical decline of mankind, all happening in Parashat Bereshit, of course. Please tell me the first major sin.
Eating the tree of knowledge.
Right? Adam Arishon and his wife, Chava. One more time, what's her name?
Chava.
You said 2. Which one do you mean? Chava. Okay. Very good. If we decide, we also have markers here. No, huh?
Yes.
We do. Oh, that's just the color I wanted to, blue and white. We're going to be able to put here, they need change, but we'll do that later. We have Chet Adam Rishon. Aleph, Resh is Adam Rishon. Adam Rishon. Okay? Next sin that was listed in the Chumash in Parashat Parashat. Do you remember, gentlemen? Do you remember? Mr. Weinstein, huh? Do you, Jake? Cain and Hevel. What was the sin of Chet of Cain? Right? The Chet of Cain. What did he do? First murder in human history. He murdered his brother called Hevel. One more time?
Hevel.
Ken, we don't need the English, right? That's sin number 2. Does anyone know what sin number 3 was? It really wasn't listed. It's according to Midrash and the Malbim.
They was blaspheming the name of Hashem, the children of Seth.
So that's...
Was
we'll get to that. That'll be number 4. We have a sin called the Chet of Lemech.
okay.
Lemech.
It says revenge.
Not exactly.
Was an accident, right?
Ken. But there's a certain matter that Lemech, his life was taken. Do you remember where it's stated regarding Lemech in the last parsha? It doesn't say that he died.
So be revenged.
God took him, and he's not there. And he died at a very young age. Sounds mysterious. That's the sin of Lemech. We'll talk a little more about it in a moment. And the 4th and last sin at the end of the parsha, do you know? We're talking about an elite group. Whoopa, that's number 3. That's number 3. Okay, the Chet. You can call them the Nephilim. I'll tell you where I'm relating to. I'm relating to chapter 6.
Beginning.
Yes. In beginning of chapter 6. Look, it says Vayiru. Can you find it? Chapter 6, verse 2. When men are spreading all over the world, this is after the birth of Noach. And Noach at this stage is 500 years old. Remember, he will be 600 when he goes into the to the ark. It says there, Vayiru v'nei ha'Elohim. No, that's not God's name. Do you see it in Hebrew? It's not God's name. Bnei Elohim are strong people, the elite people of society. El often refers to strength. And they see the girls, and they take them whenever they want to take them, and so on and so forth. We're talking about the Chet of the elite. The sin of the elite group. Those that are strong in society, the aristocracy.
How do you say that in Hebrew?
The Alita. Yes. The sin of the Alita Moshe. That they take advantage of others. As it states here clearly in verse 2. Okay? We'll remind ourselves our study of Torah today and every day during the war is to strengthen the IDF, to strengthen all our shlichim that are strengthening and fighting on behalf of the Jewish people. May this be spiritual power. Now, what I would like to know is what pagam, what blemish does this express? Each of these 4 sins. It's not going to be a lengthy share about these 4, but we should understand what's happening and brought about the pre-flood situation, which is the major episode of Parashat Noach, correct? What blemish in midot, in character traits, can we identify as far as the sin of Adam HaRishon is concerned? Why did he fall? Why did he eat? What is it a function of, a result of? Which blemish, which lacking in his midot, in his behavior, in his character?
Disobedience.
In general, everything is disobedience. But certainly remember the wording, it was so pleasant to see, and it was a ta'ava le'einayim. We're talking about the lust and desire, right? So we'll call that in Hebrew, if we want to learn Hebrew as well, ta'ava. Ta'ava, a lust. Okay? A lust and desire for things that are forbidden. And that lust leads to strong desire, and then it leads to action, and then it was the eating of the fruit of Eitz HaChaim. That was not the pagam, the blemish, in the sin of Cain. Cain that murdered his brother, what led him to the murdering of his brother Hevel? What blemish in his character trait did he have? Jealousy, very good. You all agree? We're talking about jealousy. Remind me, what is jealousy in Hebrew? Kin'ah. Excellent. Kin'ah. Jealousy. Such jealousy. We have a boss in the world, Hashem. He knows who has to be given Aleph and who has to be given Bet. The fact that the guy across the street has a BMW car and yours truly drives a Hyundai Korean car that's worth 1/4 of the value of that car, why should I be jealous? If I am jealous, I'm irrationally saying, Hashem, you don't know how to allocate resources in the world. But Hashem knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. I have to respect him for who he is. Hopefully there'll be mutual respect for one another. And people who have or don't have, that's meant to be by Hashem. Of course, we can change it through our efforts, our education, our divine assistance in time. But there's no need for me to be jealous of what he has. Who is really a rich man? What did Chazal teach us in Pirkei Avot, the ethics of a father? To remember, gentlemen? Mihu Ashir, the Mishnah rhetorically asks, and the answer is Hasameach bechelko. One more time.
Hasameach.
Someone who's happy. Sameach bechelek shelo, with his portion. That's what Hashem wants me to have. I'm happy. Here, there was ultimate jealousy that led to the murder of Cain killing Hevel. We go to sin number 3, the sin of Lamech. Now, it's very disclosed. When you meet up with Lamech, let's turn it and find it. Actually, we're learning about Chanoch, and I made a mistake. I talked about Lamech. Where do we see Lamech mentioned, gentlemen? Do you see it? Where?
The lineage.
Hey, 25.
Hey, 25. Thank you. Ken, so we don't see it here. The Malbim, one of the great later commentators, explains something based on Chazal, that Lamech was so sure of himself that no one can test him, no one can match him. In other words, he was very full of haughtiness. Again, that's not really written here in the Chumash, but it's a commentary. And therefore, he would often be so proud of himself, and he would often talk about how much his abilities are. So in spite of the fact we don't see it, but we see a blemish in the sin of Lamech, and that is called Ga'ava. Have you heard of that in Hebrew?
Pride.
Right. Ga'ava. Ga'ava. So we see during different parts of this initial period of human history, major blemishes of mankind, that if we don't have the proper midot, the proper character traits, it can lead to major falls. The last group that's spoken about in chapter 6 is the one that I would like to address a little more than what we have here. Do you see in chapter 6, man is spreading all over the world, and there we have B'nai Elohim. It could be the children of judges, Elohim, in the Torah can often mean a judge. We see that in the book of Shemot as well. So here, the children of judges, the elite group, we're talking about those that are most wealthy in society. What do? They take women whenever they want to take women. They think about themselves all the time, and they take advantage. Okay? They're using their honor in order to exploit, manipulate others. Okay? So these are people that they're just looking for their honor and to maintain their honor. Kavod. They're running after honor. What do we say about people that run after honor?
They will not get it.
They will not get it eventually, real honor. Some of you have heard of the rat race, have you not?
Yes.
There's often competition in the Western world, and everyone's running after better life physically, materialistically, and they believe that it'll bring them ultimate happiness. And the problem is that if people declare that my happiness is dependent upon how much I have and how much I can get, they often don't have any stop signs in life. They often don't have limitations in life. They will say that all the means will be sanctified because the ultimate objective is as much as we can get. So ethical values don't stop them. Their objective, right, will always sanctify their means, whatever they're going to do. And a lot of bad things are done in society. Okay? And from a foundational point of view, of course, that is a great mistake. Because really what we're learning in Torah is that the me, I'm part of something which is great, a divine nation. I'm part of a public, a community. I have to relate to that. And I have to use my I to benefit my nation, to benefit the Torah, the fulfillment of the mitzvot. And therefore, those people that are developing these ideologies, that honor is the most important thing, and whatever I'll do is worth it in order to get it, they're turning away from what really man is about. And here we have an elite group that's so thoughtful just of themselves and looking for their pride and their honor. And they're called, if I'm not mistaken, they're also called giants. And what are they called at the end of verse 4?
Giborim? Or Nephilim?
What else are they called at the end of verse 4? They're the Giborim. They're using their brutal strength. Anshe Hashem. Anshe, look at me and tell me. Anshe Hashem. How do we just translate? Simple translation of those two words. Anshe from the word Anashim. Anashim, people of. Anshe. Shem. They're looking to make a name for themselves. They want to be famous. They want to be, everyone should look at them and think, wow, they're really special. I read an article of one of the great rabbis in Gush Etzion, Rav Shaviv is his name, and he brings commentary on the word shame, that just, if there are people in the world that they're just thinking about themselves and they exploit others, they want to be proud, they want to be full of honor, they're causing shmama, the world to be desolate, the world to be wasteful, the world to be not really developed. That's not the usage of the world. In other words, these people that are on shame, they're terrible. They're culprits. They're gross people. They're just thinking about how can they proceed, bring their name to be up front, to be famous, to get attention. We should not look to be looking for to be so famous and have our name. Some of you remember the famous mission in Pirkei Avot that talks about crowns in life. And the Mishnah says there are 3 crowns, 3 values that are great in the life. One is, by the way, the word for crown, remind me in Hebrew? Keter. Very good. In many synagogues, what's put on top of a Sefer Torah to decorate it? A keter, a crown. Have you seen that before? When we take the Sefer Torah out, especially on Shabbat, it's often decorated with a silver Keter. So the Mishnah says there are 3 ktarim, 3 crowns. There's a Keter of Torah. Someone that studies Torah, he gets it. It's not a real crown, meaning he's crowned with Torah. He has such great development and attachment to Torah. There's another Keter called Keter Kuhuna, the crown of priesthood. Tell me, when you grow up, would you like to become a Kohen? Yes or no? I want to know.
Except, yeah.
Depends how much you offer under the table. You can't get to become Keter Kuhuna unless you're born that your Abba is a Kohen. And then you can get the Keter, the crown of a priesthood. And there's one more Keter. After we said there's the crown of Torah, the crown of Kuna, the priesthood. Does anyone remember what is the third Keter mentioned in that Mishnah? In Malchut. Very good, Moshe. Keter Malchut. Not everyone becomes a king. Melech, Ken Malchut, from the word Melech. And then the Mishnah says there's one Keter that's even more supreme than the Kuna, than the Torah and the Malchut. And that is a Shem Tov. And they bring a pasuk from the book of Mishlei, the book of Proverbs that King Solomon wrote, to have a good name. How does someone have a good name? How is someone known to have a good name? Only because of what?
Parents.
Mitzvot.
Parents? Whose parents are? I don't think so.
Study Torah.
What else? A reputation based on what?
Good character.
Good character, good actions. He has a great name because why is he respected? Because he does on behalf of others. Okay? All my wife's brothers are really superstars. They all have great names. One, who is a rabbi in the army, is enlisted. He spent the entire Shabbat in the Soroka hospital in Beersheba, being with the wounded, being with the sick. And there's some musicians that came Yom Shishi before then. They were singing and dancing to make the sick happy. Okay? He's not looking for pride. He's not looking for interviews on the television or anything, but he went there to spend the Shabbat with the wounded. He wants to give up of himself on behalf of the public. So people that do for the public, for the nation, people that use their resources to do good things right now, they're very wealthy people donating large sums of money to help towns in Judea and Samaria, for equipment for the army, for food, a hotel for those people in the south because they're trying to evacuate the people from the southern towns, not to be in the area more. So not everyone, when we talked about the first 3 crowns, the crown of Torah, the crown of priesthood, and the crown of Malchut, not a lot of people can put that crown on their head. But you can preserve your good name by doing good deeds, by having good character, by being a good person, not speaking Lashon Hara, not running after money and pride and lust and desires. And therefore, that crown is in front of all of us. All of us can make an objective in life that we would like to obtain that crown, to have a good name, that people know us for good things. Okay? That generation of the elite, they're called Anshe Shem. What are they looking to make? A name for themselves. Why do you think we call him, what is it called in English? Hashem? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Please tell me the letters in Hebrew. Yosef Apodoka. Hey. Shin. Hey, Shin. Mem. Hashem. Why is he called the name? A name is an essence. We believe, God willing, when you become parents and you decide with your wife the name of a child, it's like taking a stamp and you're creating an essence, an idea that this child will grow up fulfilling his essence. Every Jew in the world has an essence. And we believe that it's related to the name. Okay? We have an essence of each name has a meaning, a content. Also, therefore, the word for noun in Hebrew grammar is Shem. Shem etzem, a name of a thing, because it has an essence. Hashem, the name, he is the essence of the world. He is the controller, the supervisor, the creator, doing kindness with us. These people made a mistake. Instead of pursuing Hashem and to try to make his name greater, they're pursuing themselves. Anshe Shem, do you understand what I'm trying to explain? This is how the end of our Parsha ends. Stage number 4, the sin of the elite. Looking for kavod, we can also write a shame. They want to make a name for themselves. They want to make a name for themselves. That means society is pretty messed up, isn't it? If we look through the four blemishes, okay, we can see here the blemish of the most basic character traits that brings us now to the generation of Noach. We'll stop here and we'll continue in our next shiur.